does work quite effectively, and that is a software program that every department has. It's a database, and it takes the information that citizens call into us, and we categorize it based on what the complaint is, what the location of the complaint is, and whether the person's willing to give us their name. We try to get them to give us their name, not so that we tell the neighbor who called, but so that we can follow up with them. And every complaint that gets called in is followed through a tracking process. It goes to an assigned department. That person assigns it to a specific person, whatever their job is to follow up with. That person then tracks it, and it's got to be signed off before it can be marked as completed. In most cases, we will also ask the citizen to call us back if it doesn't get done in 3 days or 5 days or whatever, depending on the issue. Or we call them and check to see did they get resolution on that.
So it was a great idea.
That's right.
And I consider myself kind of involved in local government. I had no idea.
I think a lot of people don't know we have it, but, and it's by default, if all else fails, call the mayor's office because but it really doesn't matter we'd like to see more people, but obviously it's that
Education.
Well, and it's the line between enforcement by complaint and otherwise, that depends on somebody calling.
So Diane, when you just said, sounds like a great idea, but we didn't know about it. One of the things I'm struck by over and over and over again is how diligent people working within the city structure are and how hard they're trying to find solutions to fix things. And then citizens outside the building looking in and not being able to see that. I mean, it happens with agencies and constituents. It happens with cities and citizens. But it's just a very interesting thing. I don't know how we fix that, except we're going to listen to the public involvement one last. But I appreciate your comments up here. Great. Ian, please.
Two comments. One, when you report a violation, the person who's reported is not supposed to know. However, they do find out. This is something you should take note of because we've had people who've found out and went after the person. And
Really?
The other thing is University Area Homeowners Association, together with the city, put together a pamphlet of the different ordinances, which is free in the mayor's office. And they're revising it now, and it has all the different ordinances with the phone numbers of who to call for snow removal, barking dogs, cars and alleys, and everything else, so you can see what the actual ordinance is, who to call, and whether it's a violation.
And
I
that
think
what?
most citizens don't know about this, but it's available.
And that's something that needs to be distributed to the entire community.
And you're printing a whole bunch of those, and they're
Okay.
That's actually my project also.
And by the way, that was one of the recommendations out of the affordable housing thing.
Yeah, we have a guide to code booklet. So a lot of people knew about it. We created it 5 years ago. It ran its course. We had new ordinances, et cetera. And so this year we're updating it, and it's at the printer right now, actually. It has grown from 40 little entries to 75. And so we greatly expanded it, gave more detail, and we will be promoting it through the media as soon as it's out and available. We'll be distributing it, a few to each neighborhood council, so you can use it within your groups and to other organizations, and they will be available by request as well. Plus, they'll be on the website.
Okay.
It currently is on the website, but it's one of those things. If you know where to look, it's there, but if you don't go surfing, you may not find it.
John.
This software program you were talking about, it tracks calls. Now, when I call in, I get my street lights, they would
So, John, maybe that's John. What I'd like to do is make sure that comment that you just made goes forward to where it needs to go, and that's to the Public Works Department. So, if it's okay, I'll make sure that goes forward. And if it didn't get, you know, I mean, imagine again what Linda just described. Think how many people live here. Here's a system. They're trying to make it work. And for whatever reason, it's not working where you are. But you know, part of what happens here is that we sometimes kind of get things lost. And I'm just going to make sure that one doesn't get lost. All right. So could we go to F, please?
I just want to know, but I said when he gave us F, that I said I didn't like the letter. Not only do I not like the letter, but I had to stay here to support him in giving the report.
And we're late. And we're well past the time.
We're going to be
That's right.
here.
That's right.
And she's supporting me even though we disagree.
And the last time we did this meeting, we were out shortly before 9:30, but there weren't nearly the number of questions about what on earth's wrong with the statistics. So there you are. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll be fast.
Thank you.
F, how is the city doing in citizen involvement in policy making? We answered this question by saying, how did you get down here? Who invited you? And I got an invitation because I was nominated by my neighborhood council as an alternate to come down here. So I've attended 2 meetings, and so somehow I got on the list to come down here. And then we had, what's her name that was here with us? But anyway, she was on the board of the school board.
You had Barbara Seekins with you.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
No.
Oh, Naomi.
Yeah, Naomi.
Okay.
And also sitting on the aging committee. I mean, we're all people that, for some reason, are already doing something. And the question is, we looked around, we said, who else is down here? Do you see a bunch of familiar faces? Now, I'm new to all this, but I see some faces that I recognize from just having gone to the neighborhood council meeting. Is it the same group that's coming out here? Are these the only citizens that are involved? And then we recounted about our own neighborhood meetings. Who shows up at our neighborhood meetings? We've got several hundred people in our neighborhood, and I've attended those meetings over the last 2.5 years. And I can close my eyes and see the same 24 people out of the 400 every single time. So our answer, how's the city doing in citizen involvement? It's mediocre. It's way down there at the bottom. How can we change that? How can we turn that around? So we jumped to question number 3. From your perspective, what population? That static's in my voice. What populations are not being involved? Who didn't get an invitation to come down here? And we just started writing out a lot of lists. Low-income people, high-income people. Is everybody here involved with aging services or schools? They asked me what I did. I work with a business. I'm a business person. Are there a bunch of business people down here? Will they be at the next session? Who are the people that aren't here? So low income, elderly people, young people, Hmongs, Belarus, Native Americans, newcomers like myself, disabled people. A whole slew of people aren't here. And why aren't they? And is it going to be a handful of us at this meeting, or a handful of people at the city council that sway these decisions, or a handful, 24 of us out of 435 people in my neighborhood council? Is that? And what spooked us, how are we going to get these people involved? Well, the only way you get a person involved is if it's some particular action, aged, elderly people, or some special action. Are you going to get somebody out to a general purpose strategic planning meeting? Usually it's just something that hits at home. That's when you get involved. So we thought about, where is it? Oh yeah, educating the community. What would get people down here? What's the true state of the city? Or tonight, the statistics that we heard, I mean, if you take all those stats, all 3 of us quickly saw that the populations of Missoula County are going like this, the growth, but the income's going like this. We're becoming bigger, bigger, and bigger, but poorer, poorer, and poorer. So how do you finance all these things if you're getting poorer but bigger? I mean, we were at a real, how do you do this? The population that's coming in here. Naomi said, well, you know, people come out here, they're real excited to live in Montana, western Montana or Missoula. They come out here, they're here for 18, 24 months, they say, hey, I can't make a living here. They pack their bags and go. So how much of this population base is churning? You know, are we standing on a shifting population base that's constantly turning over? Who are the old timers, what they call natives around here? What are they doing? Are they in the very bottom of that income bracket? Where's that middle income bracket? Where's the top bracket? And are those top brackets people that live here but work elsewhere? So a lot of the funding questions that were coming up and how do we solve problems, you're looking at a growing population but a decreasing income base. Do we have to change some of the taxes? I mean, there's no sales tax here. I'm a consumer. I mean, I've paid sales tax or, been accustomed to paying sales taxes for 54 years. But I hear from my neighbors that that's not popular around here. So how do you build this infrastructure? This Missoula Economic Development Corporation. What economics have they brought in here? Where's the infrastructure? And that's when Naomi said there's infrastructure. Yeah, we educate people. We've got this high number of Rhodes Scholars per capita, but they can't make a living here. Those that do stay struggle. They're going to Seattle, Portland. So all these educated people are going out. There's no transportation infrastructure. So if you're going to turn the economy around, I mean, if the guy's out there worrying, how am I going to put bread on the table? How am I going to put clothes on my children's back? Are they really going to be interested in coming down here and spending time at these kind of meetings or even going to a neighborhood council meeting like we have? And we didn't mean to say dire and stick that out there as a horrible label. But if these stats are correct, it was confirming our basic belief that, I've got to have 2 or 3 jobs just to stay alive here. So how do I go forward when my pocketbook's getting thinner? And so we're kind of caught in that crossroads, and we don't know the answer to that. Oh, yeah. I didn't use the chart because I can't read. Oh, yeah, the final question. What method do you prefer in voicing your opinion? Being volunteered to stand up here. Interactive input. Naomi really liked this meeting, but then the question we had back to Naomi was, that's because you like to do this stuff. She said, yeah, I do. I do like to do it. And we were thinking about call-ins to solicit input. If the people out there can't do it because they're working 2 jobs, they got kids. Naomi was down here tonight because she had a friend that was going to take care of her child. Maybe you could have call-ins, like on the talk shows, when the neighborhood councils are meeting or the city council's meeting, they could have these TV going, call in and ask your question. And then, of course, we thought about the guy that would be sitting there with his drinks. And, yeah, I got to tell you guys what to do. Mail of any kind, snail mail, email, whatever. How do you communicate today? School newsletters. How do you tie what the city's trying to do, the community's trying to do with an existing? People feel good about going to the school or making PTA involved somehow in the process. Neighborhood phone trees and newsletters. We do that. I know that as an alternate, when I go to the city council meeting, I'm supposed to go back and tell my neighborhood council what was discussed. Go back and I tell those 24 people what we discussed, and then they go home, and that's it. Now, we could expand that by doing the newsletter. Oh, that's it. That's where it dead ends, So the other thing with mail, maybe we could put together a newsletter and mail it out to the other 345 people that don't want to get involved. So.
Yeah, then it gets back to how much money we each have.
Yeah, John. Yeah. the two primary voices.
So what you said was that
I've got all these millstones around
I don't have time to be fooling around up here in business of this sort of strategic or more esoteric or talking about priorities or, because I'm worried about whether my car's stuck. I'm worried about whether my kid's sick and I have to go to work no matter what, and where am I going to take them to daycare and all those things. And so we did this question last time because it's always easy to say, well, how are we doing on public involvement? Well, it's not what John about it, whatever. So what you guys really talked about is why it's a big problem. Why it's so hard to engage with people in such a way. And the reason is you said turnover. And when I worked in districts like Whitefish and Palestine, places like those school districts, they have a 30% turnover in leadership. 30% a year. Now, those are families moving in and moving out, just like you said. We're going to Montana. And, you know, a whole bunch of them know where they're coming from. Because those counties over there are empty. And the urban areas in western Montana plus Dillon are filling with those things. So this is a very hard issue. All of you are willing to come and spend your time and donate your time and tease a little bit and laugh about citizens and that kind of stuff. But I really appreciate you doing what you do. And I hope that you'll find it reflected in the strategic plan that you're doing. And thanks very much for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, nice to meet you.
Thank you.